Hey, what's going on, everyone? Axel here. I know it's been a long time since I've made a video on this channel, but hey, I felt like talking to myself about Smash today, and with the season ending for Smash 4 as of yesterday, December 3rd, 2017, I thought it would be a good time to make a tier list of my opinions and thoughts as a tournament player, an avid player myself, and as someone who very avidly follows the Smash 4 competitive scene. I think I've watched almost every major tournament this year. So, and I just have my own opinions on as far as the standing of the characters and how the meta has evolved. I think it's really interesting to follow how Smash 4's meta has evolved and where it's at today, and it'll be very interesting to see where it goes in 2018. But let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start at the top. I was thinking about starting at the bottom, but let's go ahead and start with the top. I mean, I figure most of you will probably, if you're listening to this video, will be most interested in the top tier characters of where I put them. So let's go ahead and start with top. And I'm going to split top tier into two tiers. Top plus and top is what I'm going to call them. And I think the top two at this point are pretty darn obvious, Bayo and Cloud, and I put them in a tier of their own. It's not that they're extremely way better than the rest of the cast, but there's enough of a gap there to justify putting them in their own tier. They're very beatable, both of them, but they're clearly the two best characters in the game, and we can see this in terms of results. If you follow the Smash 4 competitive scene this year, you can see these two characters have just dominated the results. With most of the top tiers, you might see one top player place well consistently, but with Bayo and Cloud, and you really can't say this for any other character for the most part, you've seen several top players do consistently well with them. So Bayo, we've got Salem, we've got Mistake, we've got Tweaks, Bayonetta, we've got Abadongo, a lot of top players using her. And then with Cloud, there's MKLeo, there's Komo Curie, there's Tweak, there's a lot of really good Cloud players putting up a lot of results. So clearly these are the two best characters in the game. I don't think it's debatable. I think some people still want to, I see some people who want to argue Diddy Kong is first still, just because Zero, which I think there always will be an argument there for Diddy to be first as long as Zero is dominating with them, because it's kind of hard not to completely throw out the argument that the character that gets by far the best results is the best character, even though it's just one player. Still, the fact that the player can do that shows that the character is super good, regardless of the fact that it's just Zero. But Bayo and Cloud, obviously the two characters, if I had to do a balance patch, the only two characters maybe I would nerf. I mean, maybe give slight nerfs to the top tiers if you want to balance the whole cast, but probably the only two characters that really have stuff that's actually, if we still had active development today, I would find it hard to believe that the developers wouldn't slightly nerf these characters a little bit. I mean, Bayo and Cloud have, I would say the top three moves in the game are all shared between these characters. Cloud's up air, Witch Time, and then I think Witch Twist. Bayo's up B, which I think is the best move in the game personally. But yeah, just really broken stuff. I mean, Bayonetta has the best Smash 4 factor in the game. She has a nearly non-existent disadvantaged state. Then Witch Time, her damage output's insane. Up B is just, I think, the best move in the game. It's just so ridiculous. The hitbox on it's huge. You can't really challenge her moves. She has a really good camping game. She's just really hard to deal with for a lot of characters. Beatable, but clearly the best character in the game, in my opinion. Just overall the best toolkit, and she has stuff that no other character has. I mean, no other character has Witch Time. No other character has hitboxes like hers, which are absurd. I mean, Cloud kind of, but Bayo just overall has the best tools. The only weakness she really has is her neutral is not the greatest, but it's still really good just because she has hitboxes that are really hard for most characters to challenge, and the fact that she doesn't really have to play aggressively because she can camp with neutral air, which is really good. Cloud, I kind of debated putting him a tier lower, but still, his juggle game's absurd. His disjoint, I don't know why his frame data is so good when he has that kind of range and limit. I think with this character, the developers intended for his recovery, obviously, to be his main weakness, but I think they kind of undershot. They thought his regular up B, I think, would be worse than it actually is in practice, because his recovery, his up B while gimpable, is not like that bad of a recovery, just because he has some of the best airspeed in the game. So the fact that his up B doesn't have the best distance and doesn't have the best horizontal movement doesn't really matter that much, considering as long as he has his double jump with his great aerial momentum, he can just move horizontally just fine off stage anyways. I mean, certainly if you get him in certain situations, he can be gimped, and he certainly has more weaknesses than Bayo, but it's not like that bad. And he also has it's really hard to put him in situations where he can actually get gimped because his keep away game is so good. His camp game is so good. Everyone has to approach him so he doesn't have to overextend. And as a result of him not having to overextend, he doesn't find himself in terrible situations all that often. And even if you do get him off stage, just so few characters can really deal with his high recovery auto snapping on the way down of his up B. So that's really tough. I mean, unless you're have Sheik Needles or Pikachu Thunder, Thunder Jolt, or I don't know, like Bayonetta up B, it's really hard for anyone to kind of challenge that disjoint on the way down. So his high recovery is actually pretty hard to challenge. There are certain things you can do, like if you have a fast frame jab, you can jab him out of it on the way down, but it's really difficult to actually perform. You don't see it performed all that often in a tournament. It's hard to get yourself in that position to perform it in the first place. It's just overall exploitable recovery, but not one that's as bad as people say. I don't think it's still very, very decent. I'm not even sure if it's well, no, I won't get that far, but it's definitely not that bad of a recovery. All right, next I'm just going to label this top tier. So just top for the next group of characters. And Diddy Kong I'll put here, and I considered him at one point maybe putting him in the tier with Cloud and Bayo, but I think it's kind of hard to do that just because, you look at the character and it's really only Zero actually getting top 8s consistently with him. I mean, there's some other Diddy Kongs like MVD and Zenodo, but they aren't near are they even either of them even top 20 at this point? Top 25? I don't know. It's really only Zero at the very top, and that says a lot of things. I mean, for people who complain about Diddy, and I was one of them in the past, I thought he was the best character in the game for a long time until I picked him up myself this year. But his main weakness is that while he has an absurdly broken neutral, in my opinion, the best neutral in the game, he has the best kill confirms in the game, in my opinion. While he doesn't kill super early, he has by far the most consistent kill confirms. And when you have a game as janky as this one is, being able to kill consistently is super important. So that's why I think he has best kill confirms. But he also has probably the best. Maybe he has one of the best forward airs for sure. His forward air, I don't know why it's so has so much priority, but it does. And he certainly has also one of the best down tilts in the game for sure. I mean, his down tilt's just absurd. It kill confirms at a huge percent. It combos into anything. Super good frame data on it. Good range on it. It's just an excellent move. It can 2-frame. It's really, really good. What else do I want to say about Diddy? I mean, of course, he's got Banana, which Banana sitting in shield is just broken. It's just the way Diddy works. It's just so hard for the vast majority of the cast to actually even play the game against him in the neutral, and if he's not making mistakes. I mean, he's just so safe. Great kill confirms. He can just kind of win neutral over and over and over. I mean, his only weakness as a character is that he can't kill super early unless you make a mistake and get down air spiked off stage. He cannot kill you early. You're living to 120 pretty much. I mean, 115 to 120 depending on how heavy your character is, pretty much every stock. And that's really all it is. That's why he's not the best character in the game, because he can't kill super early like Cloud and Bayonetta can. Still an excellent character. He just doesn't have quite as much as Bayo and Cloud, and he can lose games just because he gets characters into his kill range and just can't. And he happens to get janked out. He gets Bowser to 130, and then Bowser grabs him and kills him at 80 or whatever. I mean, that's really he gets janked out as a character. His recovery, I think is actually really good. It's not bad at all. I think it's kind of a myth that he has a bad recovery. He actually has one of the better recoveries in the game. Barrels, yes, you can knock him out of barrels, but in like 9 out of 10 times when you do knock him out of barrels, any other character would have died in that situation anyway. So the fact that he can't really get barrels back if they're spinning around, I don't really see that as being a big hindrance to his overall quality of his recovery. He's got multiple options with monkey flip, and charging barrels have a huge distance. They're also really dangerous. I mean, just last week I was playing a Diddy Kong. Oh no, 2 weeks ago I was playing a Diddy Kong, and I spiked him on his last stock, but the barrels flew off and hit me after I spiked him and killed me before the Diddy died. So I lost that game. So yeah, but that's enough about Diddy Kong. Let's move on to fourth, which I would put Rosa. Rosa, I think if Bayo and Cloud didn't exist, she would be the best character in the game for sure, just because she beats Diddy Kong. The reason I put Diddy Kong above her in this list here is because Rosa struggles with Cloud, and Diddy does a lot better against both Cloud and Bayonetta than Rosa. Even though Rosa beats Diddy, I put Diddy above her because of that. Because Diddy does so much better against the bad DLC, as people like to call it, or the OP DLC, as I've heard people call it. But Rosa, I think she's actually a little underrated because she doesn't get a lot of representation, because frankly she's really frustrating to play against, and probably for a lot of people really boring to actually play. I mean, I've messed around with her. If you don't really like a defensive reactionary play style, you're not going to like playing Rosa. But she just kind of shuts down like the whole cast. Pretty like vast majority of the cast can't just deal with her neutral. Kind of like Diddy. Like you saw this weekend with Elegant. Like Luigi in that matchup is just like awful. It's so awful for Luigi because you just can't get past Luma, and Luma jab is just too good. It's just walls everybody out, and you try to go high to get in against her, and you can't do that either because she has one of the best up airs in the game, and she occasionally can jank people and kill them at like 30 or whatever off the top. But yeah, I mean, her only thing holding her back in the meta right now is Cloud. That's really it. She does have a losing matchup against Meta Knight, but I think that's a little exaggerated. I don't remember even this season one single set DeBuzz losing against Meta Knight. No, I could be wrong. I'm sure I can't remember every single set he's played. Of course I can't, but you know, even that matchup, even though Meta Knight can kind of destroy her if he gets his up air chain going, neutral's still really difficult for him. And the fact is that Meta Knight on his own is not really that solo viable in this meta, so it doesn't really matter that much that she loses hard to Meta Knight, because the only Meta Knights that like you're going to be playing as Rosa are probably pocket Meta Knights, which you should be able to outplay. So it's really not that big a deal. Some kind of like Diddy Kong. Like Diddy Kong loses to characters like I don't know if he does, but I hear that he loses to characters like Mega Man and Olimar, but it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Because there are like no Mega Man and Olimar mains, so it's just irrelevant. It doesn't matter. So who cares? Like, if your bad matchups are not relevant characters, it doesn't matter. It's like almost not having a bad matchup, because you're just not going to play them very often, hardly ever in tournament. And when you do, it's a good chance it's going to be someone just pocketing those characters trying to counterpick you, and you should be able to outplay them considering you are you're a Diddy main. But yeah, that's kind of it for Rosa. Just really good kit that a lot of characters can't deal with. Really good walling game that a lot of characters can't deal with. So I think that like I said, I think that if Cloud and Bayonetta weren't in the game, she would be the best character in the game. Okay, next let's go with, I didn't really know who to put fifth, but I'll go with Sonic, just because of it's really just invincible spin dash. That's kind of all it is, because his frame data isn't amazing outside of that. He kind of has trouble closing out stocks a lot of the time, especially after a lot of his nerfs, but it's just the fact that he can camp people out so well. Best camping character in the game as far as timeouts go, and this invincible spin dash that kind of makes a lot of characters play his game, and just a lot of characters just can't deal with his speed. That's kind of all it is for him. But pretty good results this season. I mean, Ken does really well with him, so we'll see where he can go from here. But it's still clearly a very viable character. Next, I feel like I might be putting her a little bit high, but I couldn't really justify putting anyone else up here at this point. And where is she at? Where are you? I'm trying to find come on, where are you? Okay, there she is. Zero Suit Samus. I was thinking about maybe Sheik, maybe Fox, but I feel like ZSS is a little better just because of her jank. She does lose kind of a lot of matchups against top tiers. Like I think she definitely loses to Bayonetta. She loses to Diddy Kong for sure. Rosa, I don't know. Maybe she might beat Rosa. Might be even. I don't know. Sonic is probably pretty even. Characters like Sheik is really hard for too, so she actually doesn't do that well against a lot of the top tiers. But it kind of doesn't matter because the character just kind of ignores matchup ratings. Like even if she loses like -1 to a character, does it really matter? Because as long as if she grabs you at 40% or whatever and hits you with up B and kills you at 60, like who cares? Like, it doesn't. Like, her punish game is so good. I mean, she gets neutral air, down B spike or something off stage. It's just like who cares what the matchup rating is because she can always power through it with her jank. That said, I think that a player like Nairo is being held back by this character, just because so many of the top players' main matchups that main characters that have those losing matchups against her, like Bayo is actually seems to be really bad. Like Nairo's struggling a lot in that matchup, and I can see it. Yeah, it's probably really bad. Cloud is probably losing. I mean, Diddy Kong, you know how much Nairo struggles against Zero. So I think it's just a matter of just so many good players playing like Cloud and Bayonetta and force Diddy Kong with Zero. It's just she's kind of not working as well. But I still couldn't really justify putting other characters above her. But I don't know. We'll see where she goes. I think Nairo would be better off considering he's kind of competing to be the best player in the world. Of probably going with a better character. Like I could see him going with Cloud. I think that would fit him pretty well. I don't know if he will, but we'll see. Okay, next, I'm gonna go ahead and put Sheik, even though it's kind of, I don't know, the character clearly is struggling a little bit, and I think might continue to drop. It's just, with all this jank in the game now that Bay and Cloud introduced, it's just so hard for her because even though has one of the best neutrals in the game, it's some of the best frame data. It's just she just can't kill, and with a game like this, you have to be able to close out stocks. That's what makes a character a good character. So even though she wins neutral easily over and over, it's just so hard for her right now. Like I feel like with players getting so good at maximizing their punish games with characters like Bayonetta, it's just she has to play so perfect, and it's just not realistic. Like if we were computers playing this game, yeah, maybe it's realistic, but with her, not really. And I think she has like that problem even with when you go to mid tiers and even some low tiers. Like does she really win that hard against these characters? Like because there's a lot of characters in this game with really stupid stuff. Like let's take like Wario for example. Yeah, she beats Wario, but like it's probably only like -1. Like she's probably only +1 for Sheik because like she can win neutral over and over and over, but then she can just die to waft at 30 in the middle stage, which I've done to people before in tournament and as Wario, and it's just like, is she, it's just she gets people up to these high race percents at 130, 140, 150, and lets them stay there for a while and just gives them opportunities. I mean, there's so many characters like with jank that can just take her out, even though they're only mid tier characters, like like Lucario or who else? I mean, like Falcon or actually never mind. Falcon, she kind of destroys Falcon, but yeah, like there's a lot of characters kind of like that in the cast that can just kind of jank her out, even though they're not really good characters on their own. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see where she goes, but she's probably gonna drop over time. I put Fox next. It's like if Fox like had a recovery that wasn't so awful and wasn't so easily juggled by everyone in the cast, like he would be stupidly good. He would be probably up here, maybe up here, maybe up here. But he's not. He has definitely like by far the worst disadvantage state of any of the top tiers, I would say. Like, his recovery is so awful. Like, if you can practice hitting him out of his side B, and his up B is really easy to react to. The sound bite gives it away completely, and it's just really easy to spike him out of that in general. And the fact that he, like, so many characters can just like grab him once and do like 50, 60, 70%. So many relevant characters. Like Pikachu, for instance, I've seen these clips of ESAM. If you've watched ESAM in tournament this year, excuse me, I have to get a drink. You've seen clips of like ESAM like grabbing Larry Lurr at like 0 and bring him all the way to 70, and it's just like, man, whew, it's kind of rough to play Fox. I mean, on the other token, he has one of the best advantage states, so it's kind of balances him. His up air is really dumb. All his kill confirms are really dumb. Fair footstool's really dumb, but that disadvantage state holds him back. That's why I have him where he's at. Okay, that's it for top tier. And next we'll go through the high tiers. I'll try to talk a little faster. I don't want this video to last forever. I know in my videos in the past I have a tendency to be long-winded. Alright. First character, I'm going to go ahead and put... Where is he at? Put Ryu. Kind of like a much better version of Ganondorf, honestly. Like, he's slow and has problems approaching, and that's really why he's not top tier, is so many characters like Rosa and Diddy can just kind of wall him out. But if he gets in, he just has like probably the best close quarters combat ability of CQC of any character in the game. Just really, this character is really just like chicken winged up B and true Shoryu, and that's kind of it. You're dead at 60. So I mean, he has other stuff like chicken wing to forward air, spike off stage, but he kind of revolves around getting that true Shoryu. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what Ryu will do. Probably just stay here, to be honest. Okay, next, Mewtwo. Like, I think Mewtwo's really good. It's just he kind of has unfortunately, some really relevant bad matchups. Like, he does like awful against like all the top three characters in the game. Like, he loses to Diddy Kong, loses to Cloud. Actually, really bad against Cloud. And from what I've been told, he loses solidly to Bayo. So yeah, that's kind of it. And it's kind of the Sheik syndrome, where he's so light that he has to play perfect, and you just can't always do that against good players. I'll put Pikachu next, which this is definitely a character on the rise. Probably the biggest riser, and I think you can make it in the top tier by the end of next year, depending on how ESAM does. But he's helped, but he has some pretty good matchups with Cloud and Bayo. I mean, I know like ESAM and I see Pikachu, but I don't know what it is. It feels like Pikachu players tend to really overrate their main, but I don't think he beats Bayo at all. But I think he comes really close to going even with Bayo. Probably slightly losing to Bayo. Just doing so well against Bayo just because he's so small. That's kind of all it is. And against Cloud, yeah, Pikachu can get Cloud really well, but Cloud kind of also walls him out really bad neutral and kills Pikachu really early. And yeah, Pikachu can give him rage because Pikachu does have problems killing consistently. So yeah, still a really good character though, and still the Cloud matchup's probably even, whereas Bayo is probably like slightly losing. But does actually really well against certain top tiers, like probably beats Diddy Kong, probably goes even with Rosa, maybe loses to Sonic or goes even, I'm not sure, but definitely beats Zero Suit. Sheik probably evenish, and Fox is probably evenish or maybe slightly winning. So he actually has really good matchup spread against a lot of the top tier characters, which is why I think he's could possibly rise. We'll see what happens with the Bayo matchup. If ESAM wins sometimes he loses, but we'll see. But I think the thing that kind of holds Pikachu back is, I think Pikachu mains will probably disagree with this, but in my opinion, he doesn't really beat a lot of the mid-tiers super hard. Like, he kind of has evenish matchups with a lot of, evenish maybe slightly winning matchups with a lot of like mid-tiers, and probably even with some low tiers. like doesn't do that exceptionally well against them, and that's kind of the only issue Pikachu has. Because you look at the top tier, and so many of these characters like Rosa and Cloud and Bayo, just absolutely murder like all of the like Diddy, like absolutely murder like the vast majority of the low tiers and mid tiers, whereas Pikachu beats them, but only like slightly. See, and that's the difference. That's why he's a high tier character and not a top tier character. Because the top tier characters just kind of beat most of the cast of the character select screen, whereas Pikachu, you kind of have to play good all the time, and because he only beats them like slightly or goes even with a lot of them. So yeah, that's kind of all it is. Okay, next I'm gonna put. Let's see. Where's the other one? I'm going to put Marth and Lucina. I'm just going to put them together because, yeah, you could argue one or the other, but they're close enough to where it doesn't really matter. Like, I think that Leo would do just as well if he was using Lucina instead of Marth. But, yeah, Leo's kind of elevating these characters. They're still good, but they're still, in most matchups, just a worse version of Cloud. I mean, doing probably maybe a little better than Cloud or about as good as Cloud in matchups where Cloud can get easily gimped. So matchups like let's see, like Sheik maybe, stuff like that. Bayonetta, like Marth, it seems to do pretty good against Bayonetta. Like Leo's doing really good against Bayonetta. So yeah, we'll see. But just good jank. But I don't think they're a little too honest for me. To be like much higher than they are. I mean, they're great all around characters that are wonderful. They just don't have the jank that some of the top tiers have. Like they don't have anything stupid like Fox up, like Fox Fair Footstool, like Fox up air, ZSS up B to Candy Explosion at 50, Rosa jab and up air, Diddy Kong banana and stupid kill confirms. She's just not enough jank there to put them higher, but still amazing, really good characters like that are completely solo viable for sure. Next, I'm gonna put Mario, and yeah, Mario's like he's my second best character that for me personally that I play. So I mean, he's still a good character, still probably solo viable, except against Bayonetta. Like Bayonetta is really all it is that's hurt him this bad. Like it's really just Bayonetta because Cloud matchup he loses, but it's not that bad like his ally has shown. But Bayonetta just seems to be awful for Mario, and when I play it, it feels awful. And that's really all it is. That's kind of what dropped him from like here down to here. I mean, when you do bad against one of the best character, the most relevant character in the game, it's going to drop you a lot. Like that's the most Bayonetta matchup is the most important matchup for every single character in the game. I mean, you can maybe argue Cloud because he's more common, but arguably, but you need to do good against Bayonetta to be a good character. And he's still a good character. It's just I don't know that you can solo main him anymore. Like you probably need a secondary for like Bayo. And he has kind of the Pikachu problem where he doesn't beat a lot of the mid tiers and even low tiers super hard. Like you take a character like Ganon. Like Ganon's one of the worst characters in the game, but Mario doesn't even beat him that hard. Like it's like +1 Mario maybe. So it's the same problems kind of as Pikachu in that he actually doesn't beat a lot of the mid tiers and low tiers super hard. But he does do pretty well against some of the top tiers. Like he beats Diddy Kong. Well, no, he doesn't beat Diddy Kong. He I think it's even. Maybe slightly losing Diddy Kong, but probably even. Does okay against Rosa. He does lose to Sonic pretty badly, but he does okay. I mean, like he probably goes even against Fox. He beats Sheik. ZSS, he probably slightly losing. The characters here in this tier, he kind of murders Pikachu. Mewtwo and Ryu kind of probably evenish, maybe slightly losing to Mewtwo. Probably loses to Marth Lucina, but he does pretty well against several of the top tiers, and he does good but not great against some of the mid tiers, which is why he is where he's at. This might be kind of high, and I might be riding the elegant train, but I'll put Luigi up here in high tier. Next, still really good. It's just like he does have a few really bad matchups, like Rosa. Oh my god! Like, do you watch Elegant and Buzz? Like they played like two sets this weekend, one in pools and one in bracket at the end. It looks horrible. Like Luigi can't do anything in that matchup to get in. Like it's just ugh. Like that matchup looks awful. I've heard Sheik is bad, but I'm not totally sure. I think Cloud is also really bad, even though Elegant seems to be godly at that matchup. But he does decently well. Like, he does pretty well against Diddy. Probably even, maybe slight Diddy favor. Um, I think he seems like he does okay against ZSS. Probably does well against Fox, I can imagine, with edge guards and juggling. Yeah, I don't really. I think he beats Pikachu, so he does all right against some of the top tiers. But yeah, that's enough about Luigi. We'll see what Elegant does this year, but I don't see him going really any higher than this. I might have him too high as it is. Okay, next, I'm going to go ahead and put probably, I feel like I might be putting her a little bit high, but I'm going to go ahead and put Corrin next. It's really just side B. Like, side B is really good. Her zoning game's really good, but kind of like a worse Cloud. Just her main problem is she's slow on the ground, and because of that, she kind of has to chase after people, and she kind of gets camped and kind of get forced to play. She gets forced to play other characters' games, but still a really good character. Side B is really good. Zoning game's really good, but it's kind of things where why wouldn't you just play Cloud? Uh, you know, Even like Marth Lucina, I think why not just play Marth or Lucina? Like, because they have way better walks, good walk speed. I probably just as good of a zoning game, but they're faster, better recoveries. So yeah, I don't know. She's good, but like side B's good, but it's kind of like her only thing as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't know a lot about Corrin. I could be wrong, but that's just my uninformed impressions. Okay, next. All right, Peach. Put Peach next. Really just kind of an all-around character, really good. Like, her forward air is really stupid, but she doesn't have enough. But she has enough to be where she is at high tier, but she doesn't have like, I guess, enough tools being higher than this. Like, she kind of has forward air stuff. Turnip play is okay. Float cancel stuff is, it's pretty useful, but she also has some really bad matchups. Like, Cloud's horrible. Bayonetta feels, I don't know, it's probably bad. I'm not sure though. Diddy Kong's losing, I would say. Rosa's, I'm sure, is losing. Sonic's probably losing. I don't know how she does against Sheik or Fox. Probably does all right. Same against Zero Suit. Probably does all right. All right. Meta Knight is next. Infamously beats the floaties like Rosa and Peach. If you want to see why, go watch the Samsora Abadango set from like a year ago. Just go on YouTube, you'll find it. It's really, really bad. But he's kind of like a worse Fox in a lot of ways because he relies on like dash jacking to up airs, but Fox kind of does that better. But that said, Meta Knight has a much better disadvantage state. So yeah, still a good character, but kind of like in the Peach boat, where he's like he has some good stuff, but not as much good stuff as far as jank goes as the other characters above him. But still a really good character, and still I think solo viable. Although, maybe solo viable. I'm not sure. I really don't know a whole lot about a lot of his matchups, but he seems to be fairly solo viable. Okay, Falcon, like, I kind of didn't want to put him up here, but I guess I will because Fatality has shown that he can do consistently well, at least like top, like at least getting like 17th ish area, like there in tournaments, and he can occasionally, if he gets a good bracket, do really well, like he did in Civil War. But it's like a character that's pretty good, but it's not like. Problem with Falcon is he has his advantage state is good, but it's not good enough to compensate for his god awful recovery, and that's kind of all it is. Like, he has some good stuff. Like, honestly, his fast fall up air to knee is stupid and really broken, but he does have that horrible disadvantage state that kind of just outshines that. Like, he has really good damage output, good jank. He's, I think, the second fastest character in the game. But just there kind of isn't enough there, and he just gets comboed so bad by some character. Like, watch like the Larry Lure Fatality set, I think it was from this past weekend, and like sometimes when you're playing Falcon, you can't do anything, like, because he gets juggled so hard, and then he gets edge guarded. So yeah, good character, still a good character. Probably need a secondary for a few matchups, but still like Fatality's shown like he is still viable. but it's just a thing where for Fatality or any Falcon player to do like to do really well, like to get to like top 5 or top 3, he's gonna have to have a good bracket. He's gonna have to have a look at the draw there and not run into any like horrible matchups. So, let's see. I'll put the grapplers last. Like I had to put them in high tier. And again, you could argue that probably DK is better than Bowser, but for sake of this video, I'm just gonna put them together because I kind of think him as the same character at this point. I do play DK. He's probably like my 3rd best character, I would say, maybe 4th best. I don't know, but you know, it's really just because of the grab. The grab confirms. That's really all it is. But they actually probably are a little bit overrated because, like, even against characters like you see counter picks like Sheik, you see like top players sometimes like Tweak pull out like Don Kong against Sheiks, but even that matchup, like even though DK can win that, it's not like a bad matchup for Sheik. Sheik, I'm sure, still wins that matchup, probably slightly, but it might be even, but it's still like not that great of a matchup, even though Don Kong can just jank out kills sometimes. And they actually have really bad matchups. Like DK has really bad matchups against several of the top tiers. Like Diddy's awful, Rosa is horrible, like god awful, like nearly unwinnable awful. Like if the Rosa is good, like I don't think. Do you think the Buzz is ever going to lose to a DK? Like no, no. Like horrible matchup against like ZSS. Well, ZSS probably isn't as bad as it used to be just because she was nerfed a lot. But still a bad matchup against ZSS. Horrible matchup against Fox. Fox kind of obliterates DK, you know, and then he probably loses to Sonic pretty bad. Then probably goes evenish with Sheik. Probably the only saving grace, he probably goes. I don't even think personally, like Cloud feels awful when I play it, but it's probably only like slightly Cloud favor. But it's just a character that can kind of do all right sometimes. That's easy to pocket. I think that's why you see it a lot, because it's a character that's easy to pick up and play that can do pretty all right against a lot, several characters like bad matchups. So that's probably, I think that's why you kind of see it. But yeah, still not great characters. Just pretty good, but not like, definitely not solo viable, but still pretty good. Okay, that's it for the top tiers, and I'm not going to do a breakdown for mid tiers. I thought about doing it, but there's really no point because like every character below this, except for the worst character in the game, which I'll put here in a second, like every character, I'm just gonna put mid tier or mid, and then everyone else. Everyone else except, okay, here we go, except, and you'll see who that exception is here in a second, but like everyone else except for this one character I'm going to put at the bottom is like in the same boat. And I'm not rating Mies, by the way. This is not including Mies. I don't know anything about Mies because it's so hard. Like I've only played Mii like in 2 years of tournaments. I've played a Mii in tournament like twice, I think. But it's like impossible to get experience against Mii's because no one plays them, and they're not even allowed them for glory, so you can't even get for glory experience against them. But okay. But anyways, for all these other characters, it's just like it doesn't matter really at this point in ranking them. Like I tried to rank them, and I started to do that today, and I was like, this is stupid because every single one of these characters, for the most part, is in the same boat. They have a good chunk of pretty okay matchups, and they have a handful of really bad matchups that kind of prevent against the top tier or against Cloud and Bayo especially. Like pretty much all these characters do really bad against either Cloud or Bayo or both. And so it's a situation where I think a lot of these characters, pretty much all of these characters could get like top 8, top 16 in a national if they get a good bracket and if they get a good player playing them. But the thing with these mid tiers, and the reason they are mid tier, is because none of these characters is ever going to consistently make top 8s at nationals. But I hate when people pull out stuff like Link, like with T, where T had that great run at Civil War. I think he got 3rd. Like, yeah, okay, that doesn't make Link good just because he got 3rd at one national. What makes a character in this game is being able to make top 8s consistently. at nationals. Any character in this game, because this game is so balanced, pretty much any character can make it to like top 8, top 16. That can make it that far in tournament if they get a combination of an amazing player playing the character and a good bracket. Like luck of the draw and bracket's so important. So like we see this a lot. Like we see like T's run with Link. We see like Gluttony in Europe who won a national with Wario. You know, we see like who else? I mean, before he dropped him, we saw Tweak do really well with a bunch of nationals with Bowser Jr. We see Big D winning stuff with, and back in the day would win big tournaments with DDD. Who else? We see Kameme, you know, almost win Evo with Mega Man. You know, we see Renai be a god with Villager. We see all these duck hunts from Japan do super well, but like that doesn't mean they're like good characters. It just means that like they have amazing players playing them. And representation is so important. Like Duck Hunt's been able to do really well at a lot of tournaments, but I kind of put that on one. Not a lot of like no one in North America knows the matchup really as far as top players go because there aren't any like top tier Duck Hunts here, and yeah, that's kind of it's kind of and of course having the combination of amazing Japanese players playing the character. But you know, we see this a lot. I mean, Hyuga did really well with Toon Link before his really unfortunate situation happened. We had Sue. Sue had that run. What was that tournament where he almost won? But what have you noticed since then, right? Where's Sue been since then? He hasn't been anywhere near like that level since, because he had a comment. If you look back at his bracket, that tournament, he had multiple, I think he had multiple Sheiks that he played, which is obviously a good matchup for Lucario, pretty good matchup for Lucario. I mean, probably even-ish maybe, but you know, he got characters Lucario didn't do horrible against. Like he avoided characters like Cloud against Bayo that like I've heard Lucario is really bad against. So, you know, so that's the thing. Like we even see like what Shinji do pretty well with Pac-Man. Like there's so many good players maining these characters, and sometimes they'll do well, but again, the thing that makes these characters mid-tiers and not any better than that is they're not going to do well super consistently. The only exception maybe being Duck Hunt, and we'll see. Maybe Duck Hunt should be up here if Raito can keep it up, but I'm kind of guessing Raito's results are going to drop next year as more top players learn the matchup. But yeah, that's kind of it for the mid tiers. So everyone else is here except for the only character I think that is not viable in this game is Jigglypuff. And I hate putting her here because I actually really love playing Jigglypuff. She's one of my most played characters when I play just in friendlies. But like she's the only character I look at in this whole cast where I'm like, yeah, she couldn't get like top 8, top 16 in a national. No matter, I don't care if Zero's playing her, like solo maining her. Like there's just no way because she has so many horrible weaknesses, and like it's not even like I think she's solidly the worst character in the game, even though I love playing her. It's just she can't deal with, like, she just doesn't have anything like any advantages and just tons of disadvantages. You know, her weight's awful. She has the worst ground game in the game. Like she has the worst weight by far. Like she's like 6 units or something lighter than I think 6 units lighter than Mewtwo, who is the second lightest character in the game. She has no she gets walled out by tons of characters. Does she even win a matchup? I don't even know if she wins a matchup in this whole game against any character. I mean, maybe against some of the Miis. I'm not I don't know, but I don't even know. Like, does she even beat like Zelda? I don't think she beats Ganon. You know, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, just not a lot of advantage. Just not any advantages. Like, she's just that bad. It's unfortunate because I like playing this character, but she just doesn't have any, like, no confirms in arrest, no kill confirms, kind of crappy frame data, no range. It's just like, I don't know what they were thinking with this character. Like, why they didn't give her a buff during all the patches we had. They buffed characters like Toon Link and like Ike a bunch, and they buffed Marth before they buffed Jigglypuff. What were they thinking? Like, Marth was already a decent character before they buffed him. Like, what? I don't know what they're doing, like what they're doing. But anyways, I mean, yeah. I was thinking about putting more characters here, like maybe putting like Ganon or like Zelda here. But even those characters, like even do we can see kind of fit in mid tier in my opinion, because we still see like I think Gungnir, is that his name? I think Gungnir. I think he made like top 8 at a national in Japan, so even he does well. And like where's Zelda at? Zelda, even like Zelda, like okay, like Nairo loves playing Zelda, right? He played her a lot in Brawl and he likes playing her in this game. Like, I still think she's a mid tier because let's say Nairo decided for whatever reason, and he never would, but let's say Nairo decided to solo main Zelda in 2018. In every tournament in 2018, every national, he went to every national in solo main Zelda. Would you bet against him that he would make at least one top 8 all next year solo maining Zelda? I think he would. And that's why I put her in mid tier. I think that if you have a good enough player who plays in enough tournaments, yeah, I think that at some point Nairo would get a good bracket and make it in the top 8 at some national. Just because he's a godly player, and the character, even though she's bad, she's good enough. She can still win matchups. Like she can still, you can still outplay the other characters. She's not that much worse that Nairo's skill couldn't overcome it. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of my little spiel for where the meta's at. And I might do more if this video gets a lot of, like, maybe if there's interest, if this video gets a few thousand views, and guys, if you like the video, share it for me. If there's interest in it and you guys want to hear me talk more, if you like listening to me talk, or maybe not if you think I'm boring, but if you like hearing me talk about this stuff, because I like talking about it, let me know. If this video gets enough views, maybe I'll do a follow-up video. Maybe I'll talk about the meta more. Maybe I'll do tier lists for the characters or not tier lists, but matchup charts, my opinions on characters I play, maybe something like that. But yeah, guys, let me know if you enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to share it around, and if there's enough interest, maybe I'll do some more videos. But yeah, guys, so yeah, comment below, let me know what you think about my list here, if you agree or where you disagree. Again, this is just my opinion as a spectator and as a decent tournament player. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of it. So don't take it as an offense if you disagree. That's kind of like the whole point of me doing this videos, is because if no one disagreed, the video would be boring as hell. So yeah, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. I will maybe see you next time if I do another video. Until then, have a good one. Take care.